Hi, I'm Matt Pitta, and this is Cape Wide News. This week's sponsors are M.L. Riley Construction in Bourne, Commercial Realty Advisors in Hyannis, and Taki's Pizza and Subs in West Yarmouth. Hi, I'm Matt Pitta, and this is Cape Wide News. Elizabeth Russell is off this week. 13 Barnstable County Sheriff's deputies were honored this week in a State House ceremony organized by the State Department of Correction and presided over by Governor and Lieutenant Governor Charlie Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito. They praised the deputies and their brother and sister officers from the DOC and a handful of other county sheriff's offices for swift, successful, and in some cases, heroic actions in several life-saving episodes. On Thursday, Yarmouth Division of Natural Resources officers responded to a vessel in need of assistance on Nantucket Sound, 1.5 miles south of the Bass River. Officers arrived on scene and were met with sustained winds from the east at 16 miles an hour, gusting to 35. Seas were rough and dangerous, and officers immediately instructed both occupants of the vessel to put on life vests. At that point, contact with the commercial tow service was confirmed, and DNR officers stood by as the commercial tow service brought the vessel into tow. A car struck a streetlight pole in Hyannis Thursday afternoon. The accident happened on Bierce's Way near Bristol Avenue. The driver of the Dodge Stratus was taken to Cape Cod Hospital with unknown injuries. The pole was snapped and traffic backed up in the area. Barnstable police are investigating. On Wednesday, the Yarmouth Police and Fire Departments responded to a report of a vehicle that crashed into a building on Route 6A in Yarmouthport. Investigations revealed that the crash was intentional and part of an alleged domestic violence attack. The person responsible was placed under arrest, later identified in court as Patrick Wendell, and held at Yarmouth Police Department headquarters. He was held on $3,000 cash bail and was arraigned Friday in district court. A 2-alarm fire heavily damaged a large 2.5-story house in West Barnstable late Wednesday evening. Heavy fire was showing when crews arrived at 194 Lothrop's Lane shortly after 10:15. The building was vacant at the time of the blaze. Mutual aid called in from Barnstable, Sandwich, Centerville, Austerville, Marston's Mills, and Hyannis fire departments. There were no hydrants in the area, so firefighters had to shuttle water in from another hydrant quite a distance away via tankers from the scene, as well as a nearby swimming pool, and the cause of that is also under investigation. Barnstable police responded to a head-on accident on Route 132 and Finney's Lane Wednesday in Hyannis. A red GMC Sierra pickup truck went off the road after colliding with a Dodge Durango and almost struck a traffic light control box. A Honda CR-V was also involved. It appears that it may have struck the rear of one of the vehicles in the original crash. 5 ambulances were requested to the scene for victims with unknown injuries. 2 dead seals found on adjoining beaches in Harwich on Wednesday. The carcasses were found on Atlantic Avenue Beach and Zilpha Road Beach. A crew from the International Fund for Animal Welfare were there on scene to remove the seal so it could be taken to a storage facility to perform a necropsy to determine the cause of death. Coast Guard Chatham Station received a call Wednesday from a lobster fishing vessel with a seriously ill fisherman several miles off the Nauset Inlet. An Eastham Marine unit was already underway in Nauset Harbor and responded, as did the Orleans Harbor Master, with 4 Orleans firefighters on board. The Eastham Marine unit transferred the victim onto their vessel and then onto the Orleans Harbor Master boat. Harwich Fire reporting that on Tuesday, an unknown individual left some blasting caps in the public safety lobby. Now, blasting caps are used to set off other explosives, and while relatively safe, they're sensitive and should be handled with care. Members of the State Police Bomb Squad came to the fire station where the caps had been moved to and detonated them harmlessly behind the fire station. Yarmouth police plan to cite the driver of a vehicle that crashed into the rear of a school bus Monday afternoon. A statement saying the 54-year-old female operator from Yarmouthport, who has not been identified publicly, did not recognize and react in time to avoid the collision. She'll be cited for failing to use care in stopping. Officials were called to the scene just before 4 p.m. on Station Avenue by the Super Stop and Shop. A Chevy Equinox rear-ended the bus. Yarmouth Fire declared a mass casualty incident, alerting Barnstable County Control that they had a school bus accident and 22 possible patients plus 1 in the SUV. Now, after a quick triage, it was determined that there were 9 medical patients, 8 children taken to Cape Cod Hospital, 1 adult as well. All of the injuries appeared to be minor. On Monday, Sandwich Police and Fire Department officials responding to Route 6A and Merchant Road for the report of 2 pedestrians struck by a minivan. That van, a 2001 Honda Odyssey, was operated by a 54-year-old male from Marlborough. Both victims unresponsive on arrival of emergency personnel, and CPR was started on the victims. Both were transported to Cape Cod Hospital. Sandwich police later learning in the afternoon that both victims, 87-year-old Shirley McCarthy of Sandwich and 69-year-old Evelyn Furlong of Sandwich, had died from their injuries. Cape-wide news this week. Let's go in depth. We had a chance to spend some time at the Yarmouth Police Department. They've just acquired some new forcible entry equipment that is now on hand with all of their officers. They demonstrated how some of it works outside of Yarmouth Police Headquarters. An unfortunate reality that we're seeing in our society now is many times our police departments are outgunned and out-weaponized, if you will, when they roll up on a scene. Well, the Yarmouth Police Department has been on the cutting edge of some new equipment that they've just received to put into our cruisers here in the town of Yarmouth. And Lieutenant Kevin Lennon is with us to talk about that. Lieutenant, thanks for taking a few moments with us today to talk about this. And my quick intro there is true, isn't it? I mean, we're seeing situations where the criminals are outgunning law enforcement when they arrive up and roll up on a scene.
That is correct. We have seen that some of the most recent events, like San Bernardino last year, those two suspects had rifles, and our current body armor, the body armor that we wear on a daily basis, is not designed to stop something like that. So with the help of the town and Chief Frederickson, we purchased level 4 body armor that will go over the officers' uniforms, and that will stop rifle rounds. So we've done what we can to try and up the armor for our officers, as well as putting some other pieces of equipment in the cruiser. So in the event they respond to an incident, they can put that equipment on to be safer, and then we've got equipment that they can use to make entry into a building if they need to.
So this is equipment that will be equipped in all the cruisers in the town, and so if you roll up on a scene and there's an active situation, you pretty much have the tools on hand now to, as you said, get into a building. Many times we see in a lot of these shooting situations, the criminal barricades the doors, so you have equipment now to get you in?
That's correct. We have breacher packs. So, and these are in every car, because this is a patrol response. Anytime we respond to an active shooter hostile event, it's a patrol response. Years ago, many years ago, when Columbine happened in 1999, the response back then was to do a surround and call the SWAT team. But we know that we can't wait for SWAT intervention or tactical intervention, so we're training our patrol officers to get in the building as quickly and safely as possible and neutralize the threat. And in doing so, we need to make sure that they have the right protection and the right equipment. So each one of our cars has 2 long guns, a rifle and a shotgun, and then we put the additional armor in the car. So we have a Kevlar helmet that the officers will wear to protect their head, and then each car is equipped with a level 4 vest, which will stop rifle rounds. So in the event they came across somebody that had a rifle, like an AR-15 or an M4 or something along those lines, and they were hit, the vest will stop those rounds.
We saw in Florida that those Kevlar helmets literally saved the life of an officer.
Correct. At the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, one of the officers that went in, he was shot in the head. I believe it was a rifle round, and the helmet stopped it. And there's pictures of him in the hospital room with his helmet where it stopped it. And if he wasn't wearing the helmet, he probably would have passed from the injury.
You've mentioned this before, in that when you're responding to a situation, we're fortunate on the Cape that we have a SWAT team that will arrive, but that's going to arrive a little bit later than when your officers are first on the scene. They're going to be there within a few minutes of the first call, so there's no time to wait anymore for the SWAT team to get there, because some of these situations end in 3, 4, 5 minutes.
That's correct. We are training our officers now that it could be a single officer response depending on the incident that's going on. And we use the example of our school officers. We have an officer at Mattock, an officer at DY. And we tell our other officers when we're training that in the event that something happened, that officer's not going to wait for someone else to show up. They're going to go to the threat. So we use that if they're driving down the road and something happens and it's an active shooter, someone's firing the building or attacking people, we tell them that there's a good chance you're going to go in by yourself, because we know that time costs lives. It's not on our side. We need to get in there and end the threat. So is why, again, we're giving them this extra equipment so that they're going in there to deal with the hostile environment as safe as they possibly can.
Are you learning that, is the equipment, if you will, able to be used quickly enough that you're trained so you can grab it, throw on the vest, get the helmet on, bring the pack, so there's an ability to get going right away?
Yes, we just issued the equipment within the past couple of weeks, and we're going to train our officers on it. It's easy, though. It's a throw-over vest, so it goes over their uniform with just a quick side snap to cinch it down. It's basically one size fits all, so whether the officer is 6'4" or 5'8", it's going to cover the vital areas, and then the helmets are the same. The helmet goes on. There's just a quick adjustment strap on the back that they can just ratchet it down. And then our breacher tools, it's a pack that they can carry. It's got a sledgehammer maul combination tool for breaking down a door. It's got a Halligan, which is used for popping doors, and we have bolt cutters. So we went with a combination of tools that we would think that if they needed something, this would be a quick asset to get into a building. And again, we need to get in there as quickly and safely as possible, so they can use any of those to either break a window or break a door.
We hope you enjoy your weekend here on Cape Cod, and be sure to stay with Cape Wide News all the time for the latest and breaking news across the Cape from Bourne to Provincetown. Thanks to this week's sponsors, M.L. Riley Construction in Bourne, Commercial Realty Advisors in Hyannis, and Takis Pizza and Subs in West Yarmouth. I'm Matt Pitta.